Hi, thanks for spending a moment with me once again on the video version of the Norman Goldman Show. Have you ever wondered where all these laws come from? We always start with the United States Constitution. The U.S. Constitution created the legitimacy of the federal government. And more than that, the U.S. Constitution recognized the states and gave the states tremendous amounts of power. Now, if you look at the Constitution and all the amendments to the Constitution, you won't see any mention of cities or counties. It's just the federal government and the states. That's a system called federalism, where there's a national government that is given specified powers, and then other things are reserved for the states. What we do is have two separate systems of law. So we start with the Constitution, which sets up the federal government and the state governments. They each have their own spheres of action. Federal laws are created by Congress. Each house, the Senate and the House of Representatives, has to pass a bill. The identical bill has to pass through both houses, and then the president signs it. If the president vetoes the bill and both houses of Congress override that veto, then it still becomes a federal law. You go to the states. States pass their own laws. In the state legislatures, you have a House and a Senate, and the governor is kind of like the president, and the states create their own laws. Then you drop down to the county level. You live in a county. I live in a county. We all live in counties. The states are subdivided into counties. The counties pass their own laws. The cities pass their own laws. Those are called ordinances. So where I live in the city of Los Angeles, you'll see a sign in a parking lot that says, "No parking, LAMC, L period, A period, M period, C period, 415.90. That stands for Los Angeles Municipal Code, and then they give you the code section. The LA Municipal Code is created by our city council with the mayor, because that's a local government thing. A local governance thing by the city involves things like you got to pick up after your dog, right? If your dog poops on the street, you got to pick up after your dog. Traffic regulations, parking regulations, the local police, right? And the police are empowered to enforce all the laws, but they're also versed in the local laws. So the county will pass its own laws as well. The county often deals with things like homelessness, or they'll deal with clean water. The counties do county-wide issues. They'll do refuse collection in some counties. They'll deal with picking up stray animals in other counties. It really depends on the city and county, whether you're in a big city or a city that's very small and the county takes care of a lot. It's more of a local government issue. But you have to understand that there are 4 levels of government that you need to worry about: federal, state, county, and municipal. So you can get laws coming from all of those 4 areas. And if that weren't confusing enough, you then have regulations that come from various government agencies, more sources of more laws. The federal government has administrative agencies, like the Food and Drug Administration, for example, that passes, regulations on drugs, right? On heart medicines, blood pressure pills, that kind of stuff. So the FDA will issue all kinds of rules. The Federal Communications Commission regulates over-the-air radio and TV stations. They create their own regulations and laws. You've got the Transportation Administration that deals with air traffic or car safety. So they're issuing regulations all the time. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is issuing agricultural regulations and food safety standards. Then you drop down to the state level. The state has its own administrative agencies, and they're creating their own administrative rules. And you drop down to the county and the city, and once again, they have their own government agencies creating their own rules. It is perhaps an odd way of doing it, but understand that each of these layers of government has their own area of responsibility, their own areas of responsibility. And if you remember that the administrative agencies that are issuing all these regulations can only do it pursuant to a law that's already been passed by their appropriate level of government, then if you think of them as twos, as couplets, it makes it a lot simpler. So the federal government creates laws, and then the administrative agencies create regulations under those laws. The state government creates laws, and then the state agencies create regulations under those laws. And then the county creates laws, and then the county administrative agencies create regulations, and the same for the city. So understand that you can differentiate these by looking at what they're called. If you see USC, that means United States Code. You'll also see things like Cal Code of Regulations. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory, California Code of Regulations. LAMC, as we discussed a minute ago, LA Municipal Code, or you'll see something that says LA County Code, and that's pretty self-explanatory as well. So when I see no parking LAMC 415.90, I know that that is the LA Municipal Code because they're giving me the code section and I can go look it up. Okay, I hope it doesn't bore you. I hope I haven't given you a headache. I hope it helps clarify how things work here in the United States. Thanks for being with me. We'll see you next time.